Good evening, friends and neighbors. I'm Saul Jimenez Sandoval, and it's my honor to serve as the president of Fresno State. Over 300,000 alumni call Fresno State their alma mater. Approximately 90,000 alumni live right here in the Central Valley, and they sustain our quality of life as leaders of the most important institutions and industries. Tonight, we celebrate the best of the best with our Top Dog Alumni Awards. Top dogs are those who embody excellence. They're esteemed individuals who are committed to service and making an impact on society. They are all leaders and advocates and change makers who have the proud, dynamic spirit of a Fresno State Bulldog.
My name is Tami Lundberg, and I'm the Chief Technology Officer for Fresno Unified School District.
My name is Lee Brand, and I'm the former mayor of the city of Fresno.
I'm Sandi Taylor, and I'm the former athletic director at Bakersfield College.
My name is Diane Phakonekham. I am the president and CEO of Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Central California.
I'm Lloyd Fagundes.
I'm Ralph Fagundes.
And I'm Fred Fagundes, and we're brothers and owners of Fagundes Dairies, Farms, and Ranches.
I'm Allysunn Walker, the president and CEO of the Southwest Fresno Development Corporation.
My name is Jim Boren, and I'm the executive director of the Institute for Media and Public Trust at Fresno State.
My name is Carol Scott, and I'm the owner of Carol Scott Consulting. I served as the consulting director for the Modesto Children's Museum.
My name is Tony Akel, and I'm the president and CEO of Akel Engineering Group.
I'm Gary Peacock.
And I'm Marlene Peacock, and we're both retired from Silicon Valley.
And I'm currently a general partner with Silicon Farms.
I'm Nicole Linder, and I'm the CEO of the Marjorie Mason Center.
And now, I invite you to enjoy this special presentation of Fresno State's 2024 Top Dog Alumni Awards.
My experience at Fresno State was such a big blessing in my life. It was another place that I could go to because home was pretty tough, but Fresno State gave me that comfort. Coming from a war-torn country of Laos, being a refugee and a first-generation college graduate was big for my family. I was lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. I didn't know who I wanted to be. Being at Fresno State and just, having a place to go where you're welcome, you just learn as you go. You find yourself eventually. It taught me to be a leader. It taught me to get out of my comfort zone, to work hard and know that anything is achievable. So Fresno State, it was just so much from there. Just from growing and learning, I've seen myself blossom to the person that I am now. As the president and CEO of Big Brothers, Big Sister, I look at these children and I see myself. A lot of these kids are amazing, but they just need someone to love on them, to believe in them, to give them hope, and let them know that their life circumstances is not who they are, who they can be. So for my own reason, a little bit selfish, I want them to thrive because if I could do it, they could do it. I just want them to be able to love themselves and see the potential that we see. All children have those potentials. So our goal at Big Brothers Big Sister is to ignite that potential in them.
The impact that Fresno State has made in my life is incalculable. It started my career in journalism. It gave me a 48-year career in the newspaper industry. When I was here on campus, the journalism education was very personal. The professors knew you very well. You could call them and meet with them all the time. They were always there for you. And it was the kind of opportunity that you don't really get at some schools. But Fresno State was really committed to having that really important relationship with professors and their students. One of the most impactful experiences as a journalist, a student journalist, was being able to cover real-life news stories. And we had a campus newspaper, the Collegian. We also had a laboratory newspaper called Insight. And so we had a lot of opportunities to do really good, impactful journalism. And it was just such a great opportunity. And the professors here were professionals who knew the craft, and you grew every day. And it was just sort of, Fresno State was kind of gave me that rocket launch to my professional career.
My experiences here at Fresno State have shown me how a university can be transformational in its community, how it can be a driver, an economic driver, a social driver, an educational driver, right, to educate a community. So it's been integral in my life in so many ways over the last, 30 years, almost half of my life. Fresno State has been an influence. I created the Homeownership Institute as a student here. It was a curriculum to teach people how to keep their homes. So fast forward to now, I'm teaching that same curriculum in Southwest Fresno, one of the poorest communities in the state that was redlined, where people were prevented from buying homes. So for the last 2 years, we've been working with a very, very challenged community where there's very little investment in terms of new home building and things like that. But those folks still have a dream. They want the same things you and I do, to buy a home, to have good schools, safe neighborhoods. So I'm really gratified by all of that. And my MBA really fueled that in me. I was at the heart to serve, but to have the skills to serve is a whole different deal.
You know, what makes being a Bulldog special is the Bulldog alumni. I mean, the people that went there that we talk to all the time. It's our business partners, our friends.
We're still doing business with a lot of folks we met at Fresno State.
We learned how to work with people. That was a big thing. I mean, we wouldn't be where we were at if it wasn't for Fresno State. We'd probably be small-time little dairy farmers that got in a fight 30 years ago.
Older you get, the more you realize how smart your brothers are. And you work as a team, and it just seems to work out.
I was the 80s. I'm a quite a bit younger than these guys. So they're, what are you guys, the 60s, 70s? So but
you did have some good professors.
Oh my gosh, Dr. Fearson, Dr. Hagan.
I had the legendary Selkirk. He was gone when you guys got there, but the guy he taught advanced dairy management. He was my dairy coach, off the charts. The guy taught me the world. They taught us to work at a higher level.
It was an unbelievable time to be a Bulldog.
The Arthur Sastrom Service Award is presented to an individual or couple who have given exceptional service to Fresno State Alumni Association and the university. This year's recipients are Gary and Marlene Peacock. Gary and Marlene graduated from Fresno State, led successful careers in the tech industry, and are committed to financially supporting future generations of Bulldogs. Since their first gift in 2021, they have provided full scholarships that have made higher education a reality for Fresno State students. In addition, Gary's passion for the university is evident in his latest project, growing the semiconductor industry for agriculture in our region. Gary and Marlene are gracious, humble, and hardworking, and most of all, they have a wish for others to succeed. I'm honored to introduce the 2024 Arthur Sastrom Service Award recipients, Gary and Marlene Peacock.
My dad, wanting to be an ag banker, went to Fresno State to take ag business. For me, there was never an option. My parents never gave me that option. I was going to college come hell or high water, and I knew that I didn't want to go to a college close to my home, which is Chico State. I knew people who went to Fresno State, and I had this really good friend from Red Bluff High who also was going to go.
I was a first-generation college student and applied to 2 or 3 state schools. Certainly couldn't afford to go to the UC system. And compared to the tiny little town that I lived in, Fresno seemed like a really big city. So I was happy to attend Fresno State. And I'm so thankful that I did, because years later I recognized that transition from high school into an adult with adult responsibilities, that is a very important part of a person's maturity, growing up in the world and acquiring different points of views, their values being challenged. So it was just invaluable in helping me form my political views about the way the world was and how the world could be if there were change.
Of course, one of my fondest memories is meeting this guy right here. Graduation was in May of 1977 on a Wednesday, And on Sunday, we got married. Gary had a summer job in Sunnyvale, and we thought that that was just temporary, but we never left. We both started in Silicon Valley, and that's where we retired out of in 2006.
Somebody at National Semiconductor, where Marlene worked, was interested in hiring me for a startup company called Tsunami. That lasted about 2 months, but I'd met some people, and eventually I was recruited to go to a company called KLA. I spent the next 22 years at that company, and all of that started with that first question: do you have a college degree? And that changed both of our worlds. Without that degree, our lives would have been completely different. I'm certain of that.
I ended up at Cisco Systems. I retired out of Cisco, and they had a requirement that every single employee had to volunteer. They provided the volunteer experience. It was typically with your department. And that really opened my eyes to see what one person could do.
We didn't really have a high priority for serving others other than serving our company and our customers and just being good people. But after we retired, all that changed, and we started measuring our assets and trying to figure out, did we have enough money to live the rest of our lives? And we decided we actually had more than we needed. We thought, gosh, we have to do something good with this money. We're not just going to spend it. We're not going to consume it. And so we began thinking about our lives and our history of our lives, and we thought, where did we get the most benefit? And we decided the most benefit came from our education. Why don't we think about giving scholarships to students? And we decided Fresno State has to be the place because, first of all, the region has a great need for financial aid. There's plenty of opportunity for first-generation students, and so we thought that our money could have a direct impact on somebody else's young life.
It didn't take us long to hit on the fact that it should be an agricultural scholarship. Fresno is such an important area for the country and even the world as a food basket. And then my dad, an agri-banker, was my hero, and he meant a great deal to Gary. So it was such a nice way to honor him.
There's a great value in leaving a legacy gift, but there's also great value to the donor to get some feedback from your donation, and that means giving an annual gift, giving now, and then being able to witness the benefit that it has for the recipients. That added a totally unexpected dimension to our lives because we started developing new relationships with the people at Fresno State. We reconnected, and most importantly, we started connecting with the students. And we heard their stories and where they came from and their struggles. And they were so appreciative, and they're becoming part of our larger family. And that's what we had hoped would happen, and that is what's happening. And we're enjoying it. I think we're enjoying it.
We are. And it's great to see the students that we're helping, knowing that they may not have this opportunity without our help. And that really warms the heart to think that we're just getting him a little farther down the road.
We'd heard before this that donors receive much more than they give. And I thought, well, we'll see. And it turns out that's trite, but it's absolutely true, that you get a lot more back than you give.
Thank you to our Top Dog presenting sponsor, Fagundes Dairies, Farms, and Ranches.
Leading the athletic department at Bakersfield College was not something that I had set out to do. But once I was in that role, it was one of the most prideful things that I have ever done. I was the only female to lead both men's and women's athletics. It's crazy, but it's crazy cool at the same time. I think the desire to pay it forward is maybe just who I am, in that I have always thought that doing the right thing because it's the right thing is what you do when nobody's watching. I was brought up that way. I was fortunate to have coaches along the way that they did the right thing because it was the right thing. And so to be able to provide for, my student athletes working on the softball field and redoing our softball field. I spent a lot of days out there myself working on the softball field because my athletes deserved the same quality of field that the baseball team had. But the college couldn't do it at the time, so I did it and my staff did it, and we raised money to get things so that we could provide for our student athletes because I wanted to leave it better for them than it was for me.
One of the most important skills that you must have is critical thinking. And when you develop solutions, you don't develop one solution. You develop maybe 5 solutions, and then you weed them out to 3. And then out of those 3, you end up with the best solution that fits the budgets, that fits the environment, that fits the location, that fits all other criteria that you look at. That's what engineers do. They solve problems, and there's always a different problems to solve. And it's that level of thinking that gets you to invent and reinvent yourself. I would have never thought I would have a company. So, and that's why those are the moments where you go back and recall that your professors were very important mentors, very important teachers, not just about the subject matter, but it's about life as well. I thought I was going to be finding a work someplace and work for the rest of my life. I was going to be happy with that. But you don't know how life throws things in your way, and you seize the opportunities, and then you move on and create your path. You don't follow the path, you create your path.
I spent the first 20 plus years of my career working for a technology company in financial services and traveled quite a bit. I'm so thankful 5 years ago I joined Fresno Unified School District, and now I'm able to give back. Having the ability to be in Fresno and to work in Fresno gives you the ability to connect with your local community and make an impact. One of the incredible honors that I have is being able to talk with young girls and young women that are thinking about technology as a career or as some kind of an initiative that they're working into. Being able to do that is important and really in need by young women who look at the tech world and don't necessarily see themselves in it. What I hope to accomplish as the Chief Technology Officer for Fresno Unified School District is really to help prepare students for their passion and to be able to make an impact on the world. So we want to make sure that our students have technology skills, they're comfortable operating that technology, they know how to do it safely and securely, and really help to prepare them for jobs that will be technology supported or technology driven that don't even exist yet.
Fresno State was a place where you could do trial and error and where you could experiment. It taught me to be a risk taker. It's where I developed my why not attitude as opposed to my why attitude. It was very clear after I started in deaf education that it was important to me that what I did every day made a difference in people's lives. A children's museum is really a place that respects childhood. They are places where kids can be inspired. They are places where kids get a feeling, oh, I like that, I want to try that. They're places of exploration. They're places of what I call sheer magic. Graham Greene says there's a moment in every child's life when a door opens and the future comes in. I do believe that an enlightened community takes care of its children. And I think that as leaders, as educators, as professionals, it's our job to ensure that children have safe passage from here to their future. They will lead in the future. How well they lead is really incumbent upon us.
I was always in trouble constantly. My 6th grade teacher told me, if you don't change your ways, you're going to end up in prison. 3 years later, I nearly fulfilled that prophecy. I was arrested at Yosemite Junior High School in my 9th grade year, but that was the end of my criminal career. I made it a point that I was going to prove to my dad that I was worthy, I was a good person. But he died 4 months later in September 1964 in a plane crash. So I never had him to get his approval. I could never get his approval. I barely finished high school, let alone I had no ambition or no thought about finishing college. But I made a very ambitious goal to complete 3 degrees in 3 years. Suddenly, you are capable of doing so much more than you think you can. So part of that platform that I used for my later success was my time at Fresno State and what I learned at Fresno State. So when I was elected as the mayor of Fresno, about midnight or 1 o'clock, my wife and I came back home. I couldn't sleep, so I sat on that couch over there, poured myself a glass of brandy, and I started just contemplating, what the hell did you get yourself into? But then I thought, my father, I wish he was here. So I went in the closet and got the old album out. I had a black and white picture of him with a tie. I got the picture of Dad. You're never going to believe what I just done. It meant so much to me to finally close that part of my life, that uncertainty, that love that I wanted, and hopefully got it in the end. So that was really a big part of my life.
One exemplary individual's accomplishments have earned her the highest top dog honor, the Distinguished Alumni Award. Nicole Linder is a native of Fresno and grew up in a family with generations of Fresno State Bulldogs. She graduated from Fresno State with a bachelor's in mass communication and journalism. Nicole is the CEO of the Marjorie Mason Center, one of the largest domestic violence service agencies in California. Over the past 8 years, she has worked tirelessly to support and empower over 8,000 adults and children annually who have been affected by domestic violence. She has enhanced the agency's service system and improved resources for their clients, all while participating in statewide policy advocacy to create change for survivors of domestic violence. She also serves on the Fresno State University Advisory Board, the California Partnership to End Domestic Violence Policy Advocacy Board, and also volunteers her time with the Rotary Club of Fresno and New Covenant Community Church. I am honored to introduce the 2024 Distinguished Alumni Award recipient, Nicole Linder.
My dad worked outside of the home, and my mom was a homemaker and was a primary caretaker for my siblings and I. But both of them volunteered. My mom, she didn't just stay at home, she took additional time to invest in people outside of our home. And my father, I could probably tell you a couple of places where he worked, but I could tell you all the places he volunteered. He was all about community, and that really infused into my siblings and I. And that was just something that at an early age we knew that was going to be part of our lifelong journey. Fresno State has always been a part of our family. My parents met at Fresno State. They got married while they were still Fresno State students. Their siblings went to Fresno State. Their cousins went to Fresno State. And so it was always a part of the fabric of not only our nuclear family, but our extended family. And all of my friends were going away to school. And so I wanted to go away too. And the reality was that, financially we couldn't afford to go away to a private school. And so Fresno State was the option. And so once that decision was made, I really kind of embraced the culture of my parents about getting involved and really helped grow and develop me as an individual. I think that it helped me develop my own ties to Fresno State that were separate from my parents. I really grew academically once I decided to be a mass communication journalism major. And as I've grown as a professional, I've really honed back into some of the skills and training that I got from my professors at Fresno State in the mass comm department. But ultimately, it really helped me develop relationships that have carried me through some wonderful times in my life and some really, really hard and challenging times. And so those relationships continue to be lifelong. After graduating from Fresno State, I had the opportunity to have many different positions in other organizations in our community that helped me develop my public speaking, my fund development, and my skill set in building community connections, and that's really something that's carried on and I use every day in my role here at Marjorie Mason Center. In 2016, several of the Marjorie Mason Center board members had reached out to me. They had an opening as the senior leader and asked me to consider the opportunity. I didn't know much about Marjorie Mason Center or domestic violence at all. I knew the center had a great reputation and I knew they helped people. Quite honestly, after lots and lots of deep and hard conversations with the board, I really felt like God was calling me down here. It was a pivotal moment in my life because within the first 3 weeks, there were multiple back-to-back tragedies in our community, all due to domestic violence. And I really had to stop and think, how did I make the right decision? Because this is hard stuff. And I didn't know what I was doing in that moment. I didn't even know our mission statement. And the media was here and staff were devastated about the tragedies. And what I learned is I just had to step in and care how our staff felt and care how the family members felt. And it was in that moment that I didn't feel equipped for being here, but that's when the fire started to say, I can do hard things, I can be brave. Marjorie Mason Center was actually birthed out of the YWCA Fresno, which was started in 1904. In 1978, Marjorie Mason, who was getting ready to graduate herself from Fresno State, was tragically assaulted and then ultimately killed by a former boyfriend. And in 1979, the YWCA started setting aside beds in its shelter for victims of domestic violence until that's all we were doing. Fresno County has the highest per capita calls in the state for domestic violence. We have a huge issue in our community, and Marjorie Mason provides that critical role to support and empower adults and children affected by domestic violence, while also striving to prevent and end the cycle of abuse through education and advocacy. We're using facilities that are over 100 years old, and none of them were designed for the purpose in which we're using them right now. Our volume is so high, it over exceeds our capacity on a regular basis. And so in 2018, we did a facility needs assessment that said, yep, you need something completely different, twice as big as what you have. And we got dropped in our lap this amazing location. It had the footprint and the bones needed to transform it to what we actually needed. And so I'm so excited to see how really this will transform the way that the Marjorie Mason Center serves our community. I feel a tremendous sense of honor to be able to carry this torch. In many cases, people have said, this is an important cause to me. And I think what's so unique about domestic violence is nobody wants to talk about it. There's still a lot of shame of saying like that happened to me or that happened in my family. And ultimately, the project has been a healing journey for a lot of people, and I think that is the most beautiful thing about it. There are definitely parts to this job that are hard, but nothing prepares you for having somebody come up and just tell you their story, or being at a school site and having a young child say, I stayed at your center. Is the playground still there? Because that was a source of joy and excitement for them in just the most horrific spot in their lives. And so it's really an honor when I sit in those rooms and I'm advocating on behalf of the organization or the survivors that need the resources we provide. It's really, it's the fuel to my fire to be able to stand up and speak on their behalf. I get the beauty and the benefit of hearing about people's stories of transformation. And ultimately, those are the fuel for me to get up and fight those battles and to say, this is something that needs to be done, and we're gonna work together to get it across the finish line. I firmly believe leadership is not done in a vacuum, and nobody gets to where they are without helping hands and wonderful coaches and mentors around you. And the training, the engagement, the mentorship that I got at Fresno State has helped get me to where I am today, and I truly believe it's helped all of our other community leaders do the same. Fresno State has provided so much to me that I don't know how I'll ever be able to give back to it. It provided me with a sense of community, the development of relationships that have lasted me for the last 30 years and will for my lifetime, all tie back to my decision to get involved at Fresno State. And it really continued to help me grow my passion for investing in community. There's a high value at Fresno State of giving back, and that obviously has continued today and will continue forever.
Since 1953, hundreds of top dogs have been recognized for their commitment to service, dedication to their field, and contributions to our alma mater. To learn more about our remarkable alumni, visit topdog.fresnostate.edu. And on behalf of the Fresno State Alumni Association, thank you for joining us to celebrate our 2024 Top Dogs.